Alright, let's do this again. Hi, I'm Sailor Moon Serena here. And today, I am gonna talk. And today, I am gonna talk about, the hate that Deke got for doing Sailor Moon. Not so much Cloverway's hate, even though Cloverway's take on Sailor Moon did get a lot of heat and hate, but it was Deke's take on Sailor Moon that got way too much hate. Now, why was there hate on there? A lot of folks bitched about it being clean, too much cleaning going on. Well, there is Sailor Moon. I forget the name of whoever's on YouTube, but apparently, that's not the only show that was cleaned. There were many live drawing films that came from Japan that went to other lands that got cleaned. Voltron was one of those other shows that was cleaned up from how it was done over, how Toei normally did it. Speed Racer had some cleaning done to it as well. There were some things in Speed Racer that were shifted around and before, So, Sailor Moon isn't the first show to ever get cleaned up from how Toei ran it. Alright? Now, a lot of folks are going to say, oh, well, it took away from its true meaning. Oh, that's not how. Oh, they had to shift. They gave them unlike names. They had to take some of the fighting out. Oh, they took some sex stuff out. They took some love stuff out. Well, the truth was, they don't really think. Okay. Yeah, so names were shifted. Not everyone in the world, is good when it comes to borrowed names from Japanese, okay? And not everyone in the world could speak or understand the Japanese speech. Maybe some can, good for them, but a lot of folks can't. So yeah, they had to pick borrowed names that folks speaking English would know. So yeah, the Greek and Latin borrowed names. Alright, nothing wrong with that. Oh, and as far as, Sailor Moon, if Deke didn't do all the things they had to do to it, no one would have saw Sailor Moon. Alright? I know folks are going to say what they're going to say, but if it wasn't for Deke it wasn't for Deke and them taking on Sailor Moon and doing all the things they had to do with it, then Sailor Moon would have never shown up in the English-speaking world. You folks behave like Sailor Moon was the only live drawings and the only drawing film to ever have cleanup work. Voltron had a lot of things with it that when Toei had a lot of things with it that when it finally got sent over to other lands, it was cleaned. Of course, Power Rangers had gotten cleaned up many times too, and that was a live Farseer show, and it got cleaned up a lot too. So, a lot of things in Sailor Moon had to be shifted out. Anything with worship, they had to shift that out. Anything that had to do with getting beat up, that was going to be shifted up. Anything that had to do with love making or kid making, that was going to get shifted out too. And it also included anyone from any love pick or love choose. That was going to get cleaned too. Now, I'm telling you, my show was not the only show to ever get cleaned. Speed Racer, who everyone knows was a Toei show as well. That got cleaned a lot too. There were a lot of shifts that was made to Speed Racer when it was brought over to the English-speaking world. And Voltron got cleaned up too before it came over too. So it wasn't, oh, Sailor Moon's the only show that ever gotten, the only live drawing or drawing film to ever gotten clean. That's not true. Alright? A lot of folks are like, and I don't really know why I don't really know why folks make such a big deal out of my show being cleaned up by Deke. I don't know why they do. It doesn't harm anyone. It doesn't stop them from living their lives. It's not some evil thing that someone did to harm someone, some unlawful deed. But they always like to bitch about, oh, it got cleaned, this was taken out, this was taken out, this was shifted around. I don't know why. Alright? Like everyone, the first form of Sailor Moon that anyone ever saw was the Deke Sailor Moon. Alright? 1995 up to 1998 YL. If it wasn't for, that was Sailor Moon for everyone. That was how everyone knew who Sailor Moon was. Okay? I don't care if somebody, see, that was Sailor Moon for everyone. That was me when I was younger. That was Sailor Moon when I saw it. Alright? And I know everyone is going to talk about how, oh, well, and be earnest, you folks who hate the Deke one, you know that if it wasn't for the Deke one, you wouldn't even known that you wouldn't even know anything about Sailor Moon. You don't look for the other shapes of Sailor Moon. Alright? So, yeah. Nothing irked me. Nothing made me mad. The songs were good. The saga and tale was still good. Yeah, names being shifted. No hang up there. You folks, I don't know. You bitch about how it was bad and everything, but at the end of the day, it's not. Maybe you should give the Deke one a break, alright? Was it flawless? No. Nothing's flawless. We all know that. But is it as bad as you make it out to be? It was not that bad. Alright? At the end of the day, I think some of you folks just need to grow up. Alright? And then some of you folks always like to say, oh, well, that's not what Naoko Takaguchi need. Well, Toei and Naoko Takaguchi gave Deke some freedoms to make shifts they had to make so it could, go to those lands without being a hang-up. If Deke didn't take the time to shift out the overfighting, if they didn't take time to shift some of the dirty things that were being said from time to time, and if they didn't take time to shift out, some other things, then we would have never seen Sailor Moon. The English-speaking world would have never seen Sailor Moon because everyone there would have said it was bad. So, I want to say thank you to Deke for what they had to do back in the day to get Sailor Moon out there. And I want to say I liked it. And I'm happy to say that was one of my beloved Sailor Moons. And a lot of folks, I liked Cloverway too. I know the Deke one is the one that most folks bash the shit out of, but the Cloverway one was good too. Okay, yes, it was very unlike the Deke one in many ways because it seeked to be more closer to the Toei one. I don't know why, but it did. But at the end of the day, the Deke one is the one that gets to beat the shit out of, and there's no grounds for it. If Speed Racer got cleaned, we all know that. Voltron got cleaned. And Pokemon is still getting cleaned every single day that it's still that it's still around. And everyone loves that. And Dragon Ball Z, that got cleaned too. Before and still getting cleaned too. So don't give my show a hard time for being cleaned with many other shows during the 90s and the 80s and even now are still getting cleaned. You know. I'm Sailor Moon Serena. Hope you like this film.